prose in. So that's how that worked. I hope that answers that.
So then what do you call, how do you solve that problem of what do you call the mixture that you're putting together? Do you call it poetry or?
Yeah. Because I've kind of always thought of poetry because I do get that question a lot because a lot of it's really prosaic narratives. I call it poetry just because it is. For me, it's just it's hard for me to say because I don't know what else to call it. I just kind of compose it within the space of poetry mentally. So that's how it kind of came to be called that. But I don't know. I mean, you write a lot in prose and often how would you... I'm curious to know when you make those distinctions and how you put... Tweaky Village has prose and they're not just prose poems, they're often narratives. But they're still poems and they're sort of functioning like poetry, and I'm wondering how you put those together.
I guess the boundaries between them have dissolved in middle age to they're nothing. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So you could make a book that could be published as a book of stories or narrative.
Yeah.
And it could be poetry.
And you have a novel that I don't think anybody would read your novel and call it poetry.
No. That's true.
It's funny because it is.
Andrew's starting to write a novel too,
and it doesn't feel like poetry.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So I don't know why those. Maybe because I don't know. It just happened that way. I think it all came out of this kind of when I was first writing, I was writing poems and they were really bad poems, and I kind of felt self-conscious about that. And I thought the reason they were so bad was because they were so earnest in this kind of way that seemed almost fraudulent. It's for me, because I thought, why am I doing this? And then when I started to look at a lot of my friends and contemporaries like Tricia Lowe, Cecilia Corrigan, Joseph Kaplan, who were working in prose in different ways, I started to think, well, maybe I should just try that. And since they called it poetry, I thought I could too. So, but anyway.
Did it help you to be less earnest then?
Yeah, I mean, it actually hasn't helped me on a personal level with people sometimes, because I think sometimes people respond to it in this way where they're like, oh, he's just, I sometimes feel like I'm kind of maybe sticking too much to the surface, so that sometimes, maybe I should go back to being earnest,
yeah.
But maybe I have to take some time before I can do that. I don't know.
It's something to, you always wonder, what people make out of you when they read your poems.
I don't feel like it's on the surface.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Do you pay attention to what people make out of you, though, in terms of that?
Because a lot of my writing is very frightening and it's cold, and the people who don't know me and see how lovable I am are frightened of me.
I think I was a little frightened of you before I met you, just reading your work. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's supposed to be that. I mean, there's some part of me that is like that,
yeah.
Inhuman. And one young artist who Dodie and I met told us, we gave him a ride back from a party or something, and a year later he said, I was so afraid you were going to take me to the side of the road and kill me. And he said, now I realize that was just my fantasy, but... He said, but he had read enough of our work to know that it was whoa.
Yeah, I like
But
that.
then we later found out he has that fantasy of all sorts of people.
Yeah, the good-looking ones.
Yeah.